All right, folks, right back to it here this Monday afternoon. Great to see Benjamin, John, Trinia, and all of our members alike inside the Cybergroup trading room. Great to see all of you back. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. Hey, folks, I tried to be optimistic to begin the day, right? Well, unfortunately, we did not get the continuated short covering that I was hopeful to see. And with that, well, I mean, hey, the S&P is down about 115 points right now, just hovering above 4,000. I know the SPY is just hovering right around that 400 mark. The Dow is down, obviously, very big today, down over 500 points currently. So let's see what we have to work with heading into the afternoon. If there is one thing that stood true, if there is one thing that I was correct on, I figured I'd be correct on this at least. It would be the fact that simply not everything ended up dropping with the market. We ended up seeing a couple of stocks really go against the grain, make a nice run up. And to begin, we'll start off with BWV, stock that's on the screen right now. It's number 2 on the percent gainers list, ended up making a beautiful pop for us heading into the mid to late morning. And then as you could see, like prior to 1 o'clock, ended up making this huge breakout, broke above the highs there, roughly off of 485 and moved up pretty nicely since, right? So, it's not every instance where we'll be able to see a stock just trend up this consistently, this steadily throughout the afternoon. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't come with some big shakes. We ended up seeing this run up towards 6 earlier, made a huge, 60-cent drop off, 65-cent drop off down towards 520. So when I say that, we want to see history repeat itself, we're not looking for a false breakout. We got to see a lot of buying coming in above a big level. That's what we need to see history repeating of. But that doesn't mean that we can't or that we won't see history repeat itself in the sense of another nasty shake, of another false breakout. So I would assume resistance is going to hold here. The first test of 6, meaning a false breakout. It's led to a nice pop so far, so you're off to a good start. Let's see if this shakes back down violently to 6 or if this ends up holding its own. It's made a good reaction off the level break. I'll give it that. Popped about 35 cents off the level. That doesn't guarantee continuation. So the fact it did make a decent pop off the level, well, I'm hopeful to see 6 perhaps become support. Don't catch the falling knife, though. Don't just assume that support's going to hold. Let's see if we could see some bids coming in off of 6 and shortly above 6 to get this to push up higher. This actually did just crack above resistance, not just at 6, but also one thing I commented on here just a bit earlier, and it wasn't like the strongest level across like a series of years or months over time. I mean, it was really just from back in the middle of April, right around 575 to 580. I wrote in the live trading room, hey, we should have a historical level there. And it ended up topping off right around that 575, 580, just, back last week. I think that was Wednesday last week that was. So it held back under it here, and well, actually, it just broke above that, if anything. So it's off to a good start. Let's see if 6 could become support for right now in this BWV trade. We'll definitely put this on our watch list to start. All right. So I will say, of course, there's a bunch falling off with the market right now. We'll go across the percent gainers lists and losers lists here to see what else we got. HMTV, I think this is a buyout. No, looks like one. Yeah, we move on. All right, skip over this for the meantime here. I didn't even click on it from earlier, so this is really like my first kind of actual look at it. I just wanted to see. I didn't know if it was actually one that would be running up or not. But anytime you see something this flat, you know what it is. All right, PCOM. Same deal. SREV, this one we knew was a buyout already. We talked about that from the morning meeting. So, this is just kind of a good example of that. LOGC, good example of not holding on after the open, right? And that's not what we do here inside the live trading room. We don't look to scalp. We don't look to take these micro time trades. But for a stock up as much as LOGC was in pre, it's to say that if we see the stock running out of steam, once we happen to see less and less buyers and more people looking to take profits, what do you think is going to happen? So, and we see this happen all the time here on stocks like the LOGC, stocks like the SOPA from today, too. This one was also one that ended up making a bit of a move, not so much like, right away in pre market, but ended up making a decent pop going into the morning meeting or coming off the morning meeting, even at that. I mean, it was kind of as we were like going through. So, hey, this ended up actually doing a good job, made a nice push up towards 270, 275 going into the open. We normally wait the first 3 to 5 minutes. So, if I was looking to jump in, I ended up missing it at first, but ended up missing the big nasty shake after. And then from there, it actually built back up, made a nice move back up. So ultimately, it ended up bottoming out here roughly off the 250 level. Moved back up pretty nicely, right? Ended up topping off right under 3. But now at this point, this thing's done. All right, stock that I was not really too hopeful for this morning, folks, if we're being honest. I mean, I didn't put it on the pre-market list. And DPSI, it had a bunch of like weird activity to it early in pre-market this morning, but it was very spotty. I wasn't really too interested in it at first, but I thought it was one that maybe, could have some legs to it later on in the day. Not a chance. I mean, I guess a little bounce here, but it's just not tradable. The stock's just got like a very illiquid order book. It's not doing anything really for our liking right now. I was hopeful at least throughout, at some point in the day we would catch something on this, but I guess I was wrong there. All right. So with the market down, we have UVXY up. UVXY is an ETF. Well, alongside UVXY, we also have this ETF by the name of Cold. I believe this is a natural gas ETF, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Ended up seeing this make a nice push up early this morning from 660, 650 ish, upwards towards 8. And then heading into the early afternoon, ended up making a pretty swift breakout above 8 at least. Listen, if you've been following these meetings for a while, and especially inside the live trading room, if you're, so to say, a regular member, inside our live trading room, someone who's been with us for a couple of months and are in our room quite frequently, you know my stance on ETFs. You can't really apply level 3 order flow with much success. And for anyone that, not to say doesn't believe me, it's just to say, if you want to try, following level 3 or level 4 even for this ETF, you tell me, folks, is this easy to read? So, that's where I say you need to have alternative trading strategies if you're looking to trade an ETF. It's going to be hard to apply level 3 actually to it. So, for right now, easily enough, we'll put this on the main list. I mean, it's just trending up perfectly, $8, ticker, and we'll see where this could take us. But I would resort more on technical analysis, more on just basic charting principles, even more than level 3. Oh, that's right. Cold. Let me write this down. All right, let's see what else we got here across the gainers side. So, like I said, at least from the morning, we're not going to really find a whole lot that's on the gainer side, right? I mean, a bunch of these inverse ETFs or ETFs that just follow the VIX. So, with that said, UVXY, I'm sure I'll run into it eventually here. Ooh, I don't know. You see UVIX. Let me just show you UVXY here. Oh, it's a chop fest. That's why. It's up 8+%. So, I guess I didn't find it across the top 50 gainers here. But, of course, with the markets dropping off today, there was a big focus collectively on UVXY, SQQQ, VIXI, all of these ETFs otherwise. It's just in a choppy range right now. It's actually making a worse move compared to what the SPY is doing. SPY is like at the low of the day, where the UVXY is just kind of grinding on up off the lows. It ended up like blowing the roof off earlier. So it's not really near the highs of the day compared to where the SPY is right near the lows of the day. So I'm not really too keen to follow UVXY is where I'm getting at. The cold ETF is a lot easier on the eye, so to say, to follow. All right, let's hop on over to the losers list. Something I find is like a trader's joke here. You got SRTY here on the gainer side. It's not like the Party City inverse symbol, folks. That's my joke to it. This is actually an ETF that follows the E-minis, I believe, the Russell 2000. But I say that because number 2 on the losers list, not SRTY, but PRTY. Party City ended up making a huge drop off this morning. It was a good short in hindsight, right? So for as much down as this was heading into the open, we had our eyes on it. We were hopeful for at least some move, more so on the way up. Just given the fact that although this stock is shortable, it's a little close to the ground floor, a little close to zero, if I must say so. So I'm not really like too interested in shorting a stock this inexpensive as often. That said, ended up dropping off quite a bit here today. What are they going bankrupt, Party City? I know it's earnings related news, but geez, they're down 62%, near 63% right now. Let's see. They ended up missing the earnings. They ended up missing the sales. And on top, they ended up giving out fiscal year 22 sales guidance below the analyst estimates. So that's never too good. That's actually the most important part, in my opinion. So for right now, PRTY, I'm not expecting much of it here across the final 80 minutes of the day. But keep it in mind this week, just for a stock down 60+%, perhaps by the end of this week, we could see some sort of short covering, maybe a temporary squeeze up, but it does not look like we're going to be getting that here today. Don't hold your breath waiting for that. All right, PLTR. I'm talking about a stock maybe you could hold your breath for here. Ended up dropping off quite a bit after the open, or really going into the open. It was breaking all-time lows right away, and it was continuing to break them throughout the morning into right now even. Right now, it's a little bit slower compared to what it was doing in the morning, but it's still trending. It's still trending down, pretty nicely, especially off the last peak there at 780. Low is at 732, so it's about 4 or 5 cents away from it. So it's hard for us to not follow this here. The Palantir trade, PLTR. Definitely put this back on our watch list here as a short. If the markets squeak up a little bit, perhaps PLTR can go with it. But to be honest, I mean, just given the drop off today, the earnings out there, I wouldn't expect this to be stronger in a dead cat bounce compared to something I don't know, that didn't report crap earnings today. But maybe we could check out like an Uber at the end of the day. Who knows? We'll figure something out, at least from our side list here at the end of this meeting. Mara down big today. So obviously Bitcoin taking a huge hit, down close to 30,000 at this point. Um, I wish I can say I got out off the top or near the top, but I am certainly happy I have kept my hands in my pockets for the last little while. And I'm going to continue to, by the way. I'm expecting more of a drop off on Bitcoin over the next, 3 to 4 weeks, really, at this point. So, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks here. But Mara dropping down right now, Bitcoin mining related stock. So markets are at the lows and, relatively flat right now. It's not like the SPY broke lower. Let me just see if I could pull up Bitcoin really quick, folks. I wasn't really prepped up as much here as I would like to be for Bitcoin. I'll just bring up my level 4 really for Bitcoin. It's my level 4 for crypto and Bitcoin in particular. Yeah, Bitcoin's close to 30,000 flat here heading into the afternoon. So, obviously it doesn't look good, but I feel like we can even see further of a drop off heading into the next few weeks. It's broken through so much volume on the bid recently that just, this drop off was expected, but there's not really much support coming in. I mean, there's 30,000 which you would bank for, but there's not really much aside from that. So, we got to really see it begin to develop that support before we gain confidence in anticipating any sort of bounce in crypto, let alone the entire market. So, just kind of showing you Bitcoin there briefly. All right, folks, I'll tell you what, I'll call it right now. If there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5%, let's work together here as a team. Type it in the chat board. Narrow it down big, so that goes on our list at least. The Coinbase trade, expensive, but, making a similar move. Riot down big right now, pretty much making the same move as Mara. So I'll tag those two together, at least on the main list. Array, ARRY, not Arrowhead. I get those two mixed up, but Array dropping off at the lows right now. It's not at all-time lows, but that's all right. Looks like it's pretty close to it at least. Yeah, geez, wow, this is pretty darn close to all-time lows just back from last month. So that's at $6.31. I don't think it will hit it today, but definitely one to keep on your radar for this week. And for right now, I wish it was like at least moving a little bit faster over the last 10, 15 minutes here. Pretty flat, but at the lows, it's hard for us to not follow a stock like this. Holy smokes, folks. You know, it's a bad day when number 50 on the losers list is down 17 year 18%. What? Holy smokes. All right, folks, what do we got here? Let's just kind of skim through this side list as we kind of collectively label it as. Mitch on YouTube asking about the cruise lines, which, are on the side list. So we'll check out NCLH down big right now. I could easily kind of just slap the cruise lines on the watch list here. Let's just check out the airlines too. Maybe I do the same with them, just air and sea stocks like we call them. AAL at the low of the day right now. UAL obviously making the same move. Let's check out some oil stocks like Oxy, OXY. Although a little expensive, this one's down over 11% at the lows here. I'm gonna, put a little spotlight here on the Oxy trade. I do like this one in particular. Just pretty sharp of a trend down here for right now, which I like. DraftKings not doing a whole lot here, dropped off earlier, and I will say at least DraftKings think we're getting pretty close to all-time lows, right? So we'll keep that in mind over this week. Neo, NIO, just flat at the lows. Not a whole lot happening there. Nothing really too special going on with Neo right now. Uber, Michael said, I mentioned Uber earlier. Yeah, it's true. I mentioned Uber because I think they ended up reporting good earnings from last week, but Lyft ended up carrying them on the way down and then alongside the entire market, right? But that's where I was kind of hinting towards, like, in the event where if we have some short covering into the close, then I wouldn't really be expecting like a stock like Palantir to be making as big of a squeeze, just because bad earnings today. That's all where I was coming from there. But Uber down over 9%, near 10%, a little flat the last few minutes, but is very tradable. Square, a little expensive, kind of same thing. All right, folks. Last call here. If there's any other stocks that look really good, type it in the chat board. Let me know. From Marwan on YouTube joining us right now live, asking about Beam, BEEM. Not a whole lot happening here, Marwan. Perhaps new to our live streams. If so, welcome aboard. Here we primarily day trade. Fausto, when he does the morning meeting and when he's in the office, at least, he'll go over his swing trade positions, or at least when he's in them. But primarily, the watch lists that we put out and what we're accomplishing inside our live trading room is more for day trading. So we need to have a lot of volume within these stocks in order to even have a chance. Right, so this is trading about 137,000 shares today. It's not really what we look for, and that's all right though. So, I'll say this to Marwan and any of our new members joining us here. If you have any questions, feel more than free to send over an email right to my email address. I always like to post this here at the end of these streams. Again, let's try. He might not let me post my email right now, Marwan. Josh at ctutrading.com. It looks like there's some little connection issue I'm having right there. But otherwise, though, for Milton, he says DOCN, which was one that we saw in coaching from Friday, right? Milton, I still have the same lines up. How about that? So these are the same lines we had from our coaching call, him and I. But DOCN down over 7%. It's just really flat the last like hour or so, right? So if it's a stock that's treated you personally pretty nicely over the last week, over the last few days, then with good direction, then I'm sure you'd be one to follow it. But there's not really much good direction on this trade, up or down. So right now I'd pass on it. And he says A and F looking higher. Same thing for $34 stock. This isn't really moving at all right now. It's only trading like 800,000 shares on the day right now. There's just plenty of other stocks that I'd rather follow. Even the ones from before that I said were very tradable, but I don't like putting out a big list in general here. So like stocks like Uber, stocks like Neo, stocks like AMC. I'm not going to put them on the main watch list. They don't look as good. But hey, if you personally do really well on any of the stocks that we're not going to really put on the main list, so long as it actually provides you an opportunity to make money, like an actual trade, then I take it. But otherwise, that's the reason why we go through this whole meeting. We like to put out this list because this list will give you the best opportunity from this point forward. Marwan asking which is better, level 3 or level 4. Well, I'll tell you what, Marwan, my tech issue there finished up. So I'll post my email right now for you and for any one of us joining us live on YouTube or Facebook Live. Josh at ctutrading.com is my email. Any questions that you may have, feel more than free to send it on over my way, including this one. Which one is better, level 3 or level 4? So this is where I'll say that level 4 just simply provides a visual history of the order book. So that's something that's simply level 3, my TradeStation matrix here, that is, or the NASDAQ book viewer. It's simply, something that those can't provide. So I will say that level 4 is better in that regard. But for any one of our students here, any one of our students inside our live trading room that don't have level 4, that doesn't mean that you can't trade and follow what we teach you in class. So, I really want to be delicate when I answer that question for Marwan, because, it's a great question to ask, and I want to be as truthful as possible with answering it. All right, last call here from Aravinda. Anything major on Amazon? So you're not going to find much, volume in general on, such an expensive stock to begin with. By a large order, it might just be like 20 shares, on the bid or the ask. So it's impossible to follow, Amazon using level 3, or not impossible. I don't want to say that, but if you're kind of following it tick by tick here, penny by penny, it will be very, very difficult to follow. So, otherwise, it's just to say that Amazon's dropping off, right? You're not really seeing any great squeeze up right now within Amazon. Should you happen to see some good short covering around the mega cap companies, I'm sure the market is already going to go with it, once you figure that out. But, that's where I'll say, at least once we happen to see some further direction across the S&P and the Dow, then we'll look to try and follow up with a lot of these other stocks like the NEO out there, the AMC. But otherwise, though, I like what we have so far on the watch list. We have a bunch of different stocks, a couple of ETFs, and then we have like the airlines and cruise lines collectively that will kind of follow, as a group. All right, so for all of us on Facebook Live, for all of us on YouTube, one more reminder here, Fausto is in Vegas for the Money Show, so I will be subbing in for him throughout this week in the mornings. All right, so again, if you have any other questions, thoughts, comments, suggestions, feel more than free to send it on over through email, josh@ctutrading.com, or if you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, maybe you didn't get enough of my annoying voice, you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, feel more than free to go right down to the yellow banner below on the stream to get yourself started for a small trial. But for students like Leda, Aravinda, Milton, Nina, and all of us otherwise, I look forward to talking to you all coming up pretty shortly. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.